morning. Good morning, Debo. Good morning, Carvey. Good morning, listener. I was having a Keon moment. Keon was working with Wisconsin Voices, and it was the first time he came in representing them, and he had his little tablet. He couldn't get that tablet to work, man. He was the whole time he just struggling with that tablet. That's what I felt like this morning. So we have a jam-packed program for you today. So let's just get it started. Last week we've been talking about how particularly Black men are reacting to Vice President Kamala Harris. And so I saw Kwaku and I said, man, we should talk about that and we should bring Leah in. And, sometimes I throw stuff out. People go, Kwaku, yeah, let's do it. So I'm like, oh, man, I was just talking. I didn't know you listening. And so we're very honored to have in the studio with us this morning. Dr. Kwaku Amawasa. Did I do it right?
Amawasi.
Amawasi.
Amawasi, yeah.
Amawasi. That's it. That's Yoruba, Igbo?
Well, it's from the Khan tribe, but it's from Ghana.
From Ghana. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Leah Knox.
Good morning.
You still a newlywed?
I am.
Right. Look at that smile.
Now, when we do this next year,
it's going to be even better.
Yeah. Oh, hope springs eternal. I told people, you know what? Marriage is great. It's just putting up with the other person that makes it so difficult, and then putting up with you, right?
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes. Smart man.
Don't say that, Debo.
No. That was a good one. Dave Chappelle. But it had so it precipitated me to been thinking, because we've been talking about it. And so I thought I'd bring in people who are really experts in what to do. So I entitled this The Village Doctors.
What time are they going to be getting here?
Debo, we'll handle this later.
We done caught strays because of Jermaine.
You didn't tell me we had other guests coming.
Lord.
What do the people know?
I'm going to give you that one, Debo. That's it.
You go to a major awards program, and what are the people who sit there holding the seats for the celebrities? But they that's their job.
The seat warmers.
The seat warmers. They sit there, they hold the seats, and when the celebrities either get finished on stage or they get in there late, they give up the seat. Going said he wasn't sitting here prior to. So I think like COVID revealed what we probably knew, but certainly very graphically revealed where we were in terms of health disparities. I think this election has, and I don't want to say it's this election we're having different types of conversation. So the first question I ask, is there a dynamic tension between Black women and Black men? I'm just saying overall, kind of in a general, and there's always the battle of the sexes, but then we have to factor in some other sociological and historical pieces that impact that relationship.
Well, I'll say, it's a yes and no, because for as much as there's tension, then there's not tension. You have to be careful with generalizations. So, you think about, I think it was always a tightness within our community. You go back to the civil rights movements because we needed each other. It was like we were forced to, we had no choice. But when you start, I think what kind of hurt.
Let's stop right there. But even in the civil rights movement, women were behind the scenes.
They were
not given
the big
prominent
six
roles.
Dorothy Heiss was a part of the big six, but they didn't want to include her.
Exactly.
So I'll give you that.
Ella Baker.
So obviously, whenever you start to talk about any type of, and I hate the word toxic masculinity, but when you look at just how men have dominated the culture, you're always going to have that ref. So that goes from the beginning of the time. Even when you talk in the Bible, everything is with the men. So it's a patriarchy, it's a patriarchal society world that we live in. But I think James Brown stated it eloquently. It's a man's world, but it wouldn't be anything without a woman's touch. But I think because of, like, to your point, when the women was like, okay, we sick of this. So you go into women's suffrage, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when the women were all together, and the black women was like, hey,
They
you
were
know
really
what?
together.
We gonna do this too. No, like they were with them
Ain't
Right.
us
Until-
women too?
until they recognized, oh, the white women, they don't really want
Oh,
rights
they were
for
in the
us.
back. They were in the back of the march.
Said Alice Walton, and they like, Alice Paul. She was like, no, y'all might hurt our movement if we can. So like when they would talk about, all of these things. So I think black women has always felt that burden of, man, we get it doubly hard because we're black, then we're women, and then you start to talk about all of the extra stuff that was put on them. So you get the superwoman syndrome. And when that's why I kind of hate this question, because when I look at black women, I look at them with nothing but respect and awe. Like I have a love. I put them on a pedestal. People always laugh because I always call black women queen. I say that purposely because I want them to feel something special. My mother used to wear a shirt that said QFAD and it said queen for a day. And I was like, I don't want you to just feel like a queen for a day. I want you to feel like a queen every day. And I'm saying all this to say this. When you get women who have so much of everything put up on them, I think that's where the division comes, because now it becomes like almost like, why we got to do all of this? Why do we have to do all of this? And then you get men who get comfortable. And I think the real big point where this is all going to lead to is you start to see black young boys have problems with their mothers because the mothers have had to do everything. And when you start to see that chasm, I think that's the crux of the matter of where this is going. Why are some of the black men having resistance? One, can a woman lead? But then two, if I have pain with my mother, that's transfer and generalized onto any other black woman in leadership.
And then I'll get to you, Leah.
And I know I veered this, but
No, that's where that's probably where we're going to end up.
Yeah.
You're right. I met your mom.
Yeah.
And I asked your mom, I said, what does it feel like? I was talking about you and your sister, to have such bright, intelligent children. And your mom, being a true descendant of enslaved Africans, was like my mama. Well, they all right. Just pray for them. And of course, Leah, and I know your mom's story and how she raised you and your brother, right?
Yes.
And so had to be.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't have survived.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said.
So when you asked that question, I was very thoughtful. And one perspective that leaped up for me was the intergenerational trauma that we've experienced throughout the years. One caveat of that was separating families, Black families. And when that happened, generally they took the physically strongest person from the family to breed with others on other plantations. And that was our beautiful, wonderful, strong Black men, leaving Black women to fend for themselves, try to avoid being raped, giving birth to other children that were not with her husband or chosen person at that time. Also, had to take responsibilities. There's a gender role within our community at times, and I'm not speaking about everybody, so I don't want to generalize. However, that Black woman now having to take care of the family, be the head, so on and so forth. And back in our royalty days, African queens and queens, that was not generally how things went. We were very strong. We were very knowledgeable. However, there was an order of things. So when that happened, now you have men elsewhere trying to fight for their lives, being treated as though they were cattle. So now we come up some more years to the civil rights unit. You have the women in the background, but not all of them, because remember the postal workers in the war. Remember the people who spoke out, the entertainers, so on and so forth, that are all women. So with that being said, now we have this clash. So my innate role is to be a protector, is to be a provider, to make sure that things are fine. However, now I have Black women who are the same. They're portraying those roles. They're trying to do the best that they can. So when you have that, now it's what do we do with each other? The tension isn't always so huge. It's just simply how do we work with each other to understand, number one, from whence we came, That is the only way that we're going to understand what's going on today. And also, how can we effectively manage these things that have happened? Because people say get rid of or what have you. No, we effectively manage these thoughts and feelings every day, and it's through our blood and through our systems and through our thought processes.
Kwaku mentioned something though when he talks about patriarchy,
Yes.
and he also talked about, he mentioned the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Descendants of enslaved African people
Mm-hmm.
love Jesus. And what I mean by that is the Bible is the book for many of our folks. And so I don't know if this is, and I don't know if you'd be clinical about this, I don't know if this is something that is innate, where it is that the male should be the dominant of the two, because the patriarchy in the Bible is pushing up against modernity, right? Just based on what you just. So how do you see that as an influencer, and that both Black men and Black women are victimized by this whole patriarchal structure that's being promoted as the right way to do things?
So I see that. I absolutely do. We talk about the Bible, and during and throughout slavery, it was used as a training. So it was weaponized, meaning this is what you should believe in. This is who you should believe in, and this will save your life. You will go to heaven, this wonderful land, while we are treating you in such a way in which this is your role for now until. So please obey your masters. Please make sure that you are doing everything that we say to do. Your community is this, but you're going to be here one day, as well as here are the tenets that you should obey every single day. Before we came from our beautiful royal places, that was not something that we even knew about. And also, along with that, we were read too. We didn't know how to read, we didn't know how to write, not because we were stupid, but because we were not from this land. It's like someone coming here from a different country and not knowing how to speak English, not knowing we read all right, but we read beautiful hieroglyphics. We were so beyond that people don't even remember those things. And so now when you have this, it's a way to put us in certain spaces and make sure that we are obedient. So no rag on Christianity and religion and things of that sort, but the Bible has many, many, many uses, and that absolutely was one of them.
Well, I think it's a fair critique. I also think that, we know that the Bible used for enslaved Africans was a redacted Bible.
Yes.
Any reference to humanity, any reference to liberation,
Yes.
any of the stories where they showed, certainly they're not going to talk about
Exodus.
Right.
They did what? So that being, but I also believe that it became that book that was available, but I agree it was. If everybody's seen Nat Turner,
Yeah, I was just about to
I
talk
was just
about
about to say
that.
Nat Turner, yep.
right,
Because he was a preacher. I mean,
Great minds
but
think
what-
alike.
when he started to understand the scriptures,
but who was standing next to him when he preached? He had a white overseer,
yeah,
who made sure
that he stayed within
he
the
stayed
context
within
what
the
he had to
context
do.
of what he had to say.
Yeah,
But
it was whenever there was enough of us in the room, it had to be one of them
Right.
to make sure that
somebody got to
everything was
watch.
there. But I think that goes to your point, because I think this goes even beyond enslaved Africans. I think when you start to talk about how any religious can be weaponized, I mean, that's where wars are started
Yes.
from. So when you think about the women who voted for Trump in 2016 over Hillary, when that was their person, because they didn't believe that a woman could lead. And you even hear now, you think about, okay, she's got to do foreign policy. She got to talk with the people over in Iran and Iraq. She got to talk with the people in the Middle East. They have no respect to women. They don't have the same values and more. So it's like, how is she going to be able to compete with them? How is she going to be able to talk? Now, yeah, she got the nuclear football and she can do that. But those are the questions. We have people here. And if you want to start an argument on WNOV, just ask our beautiful Black people, can a woman be a pastor? Man, you gonna get knocked out, because some people gonna say
We got to take a break.
Hey, I love that, but we know it's the truth though.
No,
It's the absolute truth.
But I think that undergirds what we're seeing when we see certain Black men and their reaction to Kamala Harris, right? That is hard for us. Well, let's just keep it 100.
Well, is it Kamala as a Black woman, or is it Kamala the person? And that's what I think sometimes you
I
have to
think-
do, because I think if it was Michelle, I think if it was Ayanna Presley, I think if it was a different type of person, maybe who they had a different level of understanding, of respect, or like for.
Or believed
Hillary didn't
rapport.
win because she was unlikable. Hillary, from a political standpoint, resume unreachable,
the popular
unprintable. It was impossible for you not to say she was qualified, but it was something about her likability. And
her
likability comes with a transparency and a real.
But how much is that gender? In New York Times this morning, they're talking about the issue in this election. People saying it's immigration. People are saying,
But it
that
is
it's
immigration.
It is, but
It is Israel in the Middle East. It is. You got single issue voters, so that's what people don't get. They be like, how can people be confused on who they not
but
voting for?
politics is a sensual act, and what I mean by that is that yes, you and I and Leah and Debo and
I don't know
Carly,
about Debo. I
Okay.
just had to throw that in.
we look at it differently. So we're going to go in and do the research that you would think an enlightened voter would do. Most people, regardless of gender, regardless of ethnicity, have a very central reaction. You talked about Michelle. Now, and when you said Michelle Obama, that's who I'm assuming you're talking about.
Oh, that's the only Michelle.
I had a reaction. No, that's not the only Michelle.
To me, it is, but I know what you're saying.
We've got one.
Yeah, remember, we got one that works here.
I know Michelle Bryan, all love, but
But I have a reaction. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have a reaction to Michelle Obama because she's like a Southside sister to me.
Yeah.
And there's that I'm attracted to.
yeah,
But I'm being very honest. I'm also like, damn, she's a Southside sister. I always tell the story. I remember they were being interviewed by Barbara Walters, and they were just asking, and Chris Rock had the joke. The reason why a black man won't be a president is because of what? A black woman, right?
Mhm.
And so we're watching and going through. She said, Senator Obama, because he's running, what do you do to relax? And Barack said, well, I like to do dishes. And the look on Michelle's face was like, Negro, you don't do no dishes. That was the look. I can recognize it.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
going like,
we loved her.
I'm like, yeah, here we go.
Mhm.
Because the look, she didn't have to say anything. It's like, you ain't watch
Like,
no
you watch the
dishes.
dishes.
You always in Springfield. When you talking about you washing dishes. But I'm just saying, but that is, and how do I separate, like, for example, how white males reacted to Hillary Clinton?
Mhm.
There was some, she's like my mother. There was some, she's like my wife. It's sensual, man. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
but, we set up,
Debo saying,
He's like, you gotta go now.
You're listening to WNOV.
we're inside Community Voice. We have the village doctors in with us, Dr. Kwaku Amashi and Dr. Leah Knox.
Thank you so much
I still
again.
don't think you said
Get it
it
right.
Go ahead. One more
Amawasi.
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 She looking at me. Don't look at me. I
How am I in here?
can't. Like you try to get a lyric to the song, and they going like.
I'm just trying to get the commercial.
Debo started playing the music. I was like, is that the same thing?
All right, we're gonna go in the back and work.
I knew he was gonna butcher it. So
I'll help him
I
out next
butcher
time.
names, man. Keep the butcher. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Community Voice, and we're joined by the Village Doctors. I'll just call them Dr. Lee and Dr. Kwaku.
Hey, I'm Wasi.
Do it
And
again.
Knox.
Do it again.
I'm Wasi.
You might want to have her do that.
I did. That's gonna be the intro.
Which was because Leah was talking about this. You see more and more women like as PA announcers. The WWE now, Lillian Garcia. She is good.
Yes.
And people understand when you do that whole thing. It's like, who's my guy? Did the HBO fights? Let's get ready to rumble.
Oh.
I can't think of my guy's name.
That guy, I can't think of his name either. I know you're referring.
Yeah,
And I can see him in my face.
but I think you do. You Buffer. You have a
Michael
great.
Buffer.
And his brother, his half brother, something like this.
Yeah, he does it too for the MMA.
He owns it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But we were talking about this. So we talked about the patriarchy. We talked about our lived experiences. I don't know if I got a yes or no. Is there a dynamic tension?
I'd say yes and no.
Yes and no.
I said we just can
Agreed.
generalize it. It's on different levels. Because it's like this, it was a study done, and it was like in the 1960s, if a black woman was alone on the street, she said if she saw a black man, she felt the most comfortable. Then if she saw a white woman, she felt the second comfortable. Then if she saw a white man, she felt the least comfortable. They transferred this, and this is a little dated study, but then in the early 2000s, she felt most comfortable with the white woman, then the white man, then the black man. And I think that's the essence of your question is like, when did the dynamic change from us being the protectors to us then becoming the predators, to over attacking and things of that nature?
Oh, that moves on to the next. But go ahead. Media has a huge amount to do with that.
Propaganda.
And that is all over the world. I did mission trips in Afghanistan, Turkey, Haiti, and in those eastern countries, Afghanistan, especially, Haiti and Turkey as well. So the TV was about 10 to 20 years behind. So Starsky and Hutch, all those, they were on television, but also a lot of the not necessarily black exploitation movies or TV, but yes. And so that's how the world absolutely does see us, especially with the violence or black men, being abusive or what have you, which broke my heart because then when they saw me, I was pretty much a pariah, but I'm not really sure if that was negative or positive. I was covered in everything, but not many of us had gone to these countries for mission trips. People were slamming into the back of their cars. By the way, 1980s Toyotas and don't think they cannot last. Oh, it's about 20, 30 years old.
Oh, when the Taliban took over, it hurt
my
Toyota's
goodness.
brand because they had all those red Toyota
absolutely.
pickups.
So all of these places, and even just to see a woman, they didn't kind of know what nationality I was. They figured I probably was from one more towards the equator, but it was very much so different. And they didn't expect it. And so when you had those TVs and things like that down there, it played all of the things that we have tried our best to fight against and grow up from.
Yeah, we need to let them know that they have torn down Cabrini Green since good times.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Lord help us.
We're gonna shift gears here real quickly. We have on the line with us Representative Jennifer McClellan, the great state as the Commonwealth of Virginia. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am doing well, although you hear I'm losing my voice because I've been talking so much about Kamala Harris.
Let me ask, you were born in Petersburg, Virginia. Is that in Spotsylvania County?
No, it's about 30 minutes south of Richmond.
Okay. Because I'm trying to think where Moses Malone, I thought he was.
Petersburg, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Well, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And I know we're having a discussion here really about what's going on in terms of the current election. You're here, obviously, and not obviously, but you're here to support Vice President Kamala Harris and
right.
Governor Walz. Where does it seems like a strange question, but why, beyond being a Democrat, what do you see in Vice President Harris that you are so enthusiastically supporting her?
Well, I see someone who wakes up every day focused on how can I help people and solve problems, and bringing her unique perspectives to doing that versus the former president who wakes up every day thinking who has aggrieved me and how can I get my revenge. And I will tell you, the last time I was in Wisconsin, when I talked to voters about what they were most looking forward to in a Harris-Walz administration, you know, they talked about the issues, but they also talked about how they were looking forward to a government that put people over politics, that, didn't focus on chaos and division and hatred, but focused on helping people. And so that's probably what I'm the most excited about.
When we hear a new way forward, what is that beyond it being a campaign slogan? What is the new way forward?
So I think it's one that first focuses on protecting our fundamental freedoms, whether it's the right to vote, whether it's the right to make your own healthcare decisions, the right to disagree with your government and your First Amendment speeches. It'll focus on strengthening our democracy, which has been eroded or attempts to erode it by the last president, and one that focuses on an economy that leaves no one behind and focuses on lowering costs.
When we talk about this thing, and I know part of the outreach is that there's certain communities that don't always feel seen or heard. What is the Harris-Walz campaign doing to touch and reach out to those people?
I think, first meeting voters where they are by every means that they receive information. More than any other year, people get their information from a wider variety of sources. So focusing on whether it's Black radio, whether it's social media, whether it's tapping trusted leaders in communities to talk about, no matter who you are, you care about the same issues, but your specific needs might be different. So making sure you are addressing the specific needs of a community as well as the big picture in every medium forward, and showing how your agenda broadly, while it's the same for every community, has specific goals for different communities. So she rolled out her agenda for Black men, her agenda for Latino men, but she's also got some specific things that are unique to Black women, like addressing the maternal health crisis. So I think that's the way to do it, and making sure that whether it's through knocking on doors, whether it's through radio, TV, social media, that we're touching voters where they are in every community.
Do you all early vote in Virginia?
We do. We started September 20th, 45 days of no excuse early voting.
And what has that looked like? I know we started early voting here in Wisconsin yesterday, and particularly in Milwaukee. We had long lines of people. So is that kind of what you're seeing there in Virginia?
We are. I mean, we have seen a very steady flow of voting. Here in Richmond, we had early voting, no excuse, for the first time in 2020. We broke the 2020 record for the first day of voting, by 1:00 on the first day of voting here. And so we are seeing, now people still prefer to vote in person. They like, we have elections every year here, so they like the ritual of going in person. So we're seeing more in-person early votes, but we're also seeing a good number of early mail-in votes.
This is a very, very close election. What must be done in order for the Harris-Walz campaign to get across the finish line?
First, I think we're not taking our foot off the gas, and we're not taking any vote for granted. She said from day one that she'd be the underdog, coming in as the nominee in July. And a lot of people, don't really know a lot about her. And so making sure that we are reaching every voter where they are multiple times to talk not only about who she is and her record, how she's focused on helping people her entire career, how she's worked with the president in lowering costs, like lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, and lowering the insulin costs, just as an example. But also making sure we're talking about her path forward, but also what's at stake if Donald Trump gets a second term and has the opportunity to implement Project 2025, which would hurt all of our communities. And he's been given carte blanche by the Supreme Court to do whatever he wants to implement it, even if it violates the criminal law.
Are you confident, somewhat confident, a little nervous?
I am cautiously optimistic. I always run like I'm 10 points behind, and I think the only poll that matters is on election day. So I am focused on making sure, just as the vice president is, that we don't take our foot off the gas and that we stay focused on reaching every voter and getting our message out that this is probably the most consequential election of our lives. This will probably determine whether democracy survives, and this will determine if we build on the progress that we have made. Making this a country where liberty and justice for all means all, or whether we go back to a time where it was only liberty and justice for a few. And we've still got a long way to go to make sure that we're leaving no one behind, but I don't want to go back.
That's a good place to end it, because I want you to be, because I'm sure you have more interviews and calls to make. The Honorable Jennifer Lee McClellan. She is the Congresswoman from Virginia's 4th Congressional District. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So we're back. Yeah, I don't know how I knew that Moses Malone was from Petersburg, Virginia. Fo. I know how I know. When I was in high school,
because he came out of high school.
Yeah.
So
in 1974, we won the state championship, and
we made the. It was like we made the championship.
Everybody get a trophy.
Even
the water boy got a trophy.
Boy.
Everybody, Bobby Boudreaux, everybody got a trophy. Bobby Boucher. But it was Converse used to do a yearbook, and so Converse would do all of the champions for basketball, and we were in. And his high school team had won the state championship.
I'm sure with him.
Yeah, with him. And then we had won. And so we're in the same edition. And that's when I knew he was from Petersburg. And I don't know why I was thinking about Spotsylvania County, I think is where Alex Haley's folks were from. And they moved to Tennessee. I think that I'll have to do, but I think that's where they're from. All right. So we were talking about it. Yes, sir. Yes and no for dynamic tension. Now we're beginning to talk about influencers. Leah was talking about the media and how media has always been. I mean, it goes back to William Randolph Hearst and yellow journalism. I mean, media always has impact. Why do you see this? Well, how do you see this as a contributor to that dynamic tension between Black women and Black men?
Oh, well, I mean, I think we just answered the question, because it's what they portray and what you see on a regular basis. It indoctrinates you, whether it's on a conscious level or subconscious level. Think about back in the day. If it was a Black person who committed the crime, you saw the face, you knew exactly who it was. And when they wouldn't say Black. The face and they would say the thing, we like, oh, he white.
Black, right.
Because it was certain things that they did. You look, now this is kind of a little morbid, but there's 3 times more suicides than homicides. You never see suicides reported on the news on a regular basis, but there's always a murder, and it's always there. And then you think about the terms that we heard coming up, Black on Black crime. It was all of these things that we heard. It's more likely you're going to die before or go to jail before the age of 24, before you, if you're a Black man.
More Black men incarcerated than going to college, which is all not true.
More Black men, robberies, so on and so forth.
We go through all of these stats that you hear compounded every day, and then you look at what we do, because we grew up like our era, like in the beginning, we had KRS-One, Public Enemy, like the rappers that made you feel good about being who you were. Even Run DMC, I'm proud to be Black, y'all. And then you move into the gangster rap. And then you start to go into the boys in the hood, the menace to society. And I blame MC Light, because, the women moved the show. She was like, I need a what? I need
Okay.
a roughneck. I gotta have a, so now
That's a good
everybody.
one, though.
You want to
But wait a minute, but hold on. Let's be
Mhm.
fair. She's doing tribute to that brother.
Oh no. I'm
I
just playing with
think
that.
I know, but I'm saying, but
Yeah.
but that's why I love the song so
Uh-huh.
much, because she said, "Look, I know you got all this, but I know that you got my back, right?
Mhm.
You know, because then something I can call, the whole thing. Okay, but look, I had blaxploitation movies.
Yeah.
You already know.
Oh, yeah, right.
We the Mac
You know,
was
so yeah.
that was a rites of passage. in our house.
As a matter of fact, in ours too, your
Uh-huh.
uncle, that was the one
the
that
Mac,
Yeah.
and
especially the
Superfly.
Mac.
Yeah. Well, there's your expert on the back.
No, this it was a few years ago, and I'm surprised we're not in trouble today. But we diagnosed
Oh
and
man, she
dissected the
went and
Mac.
did a critique on the back. It was like, but I'm saying we, and I don't know what it was for my mom's generation. I'm sure that there was whatever their media was, because I first of all I think that, and I hate rap. Let's just say rap kind of got an unfair rap.
Yeah,
No pun
Absolutely.
intended. No pun intended. But got an unfair rap because rap didn't start men objectifying women. We've been objectifying women since
Yeah.
there's been men and women, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so if rap exposes what is in fact happening, we're uncomfortable with it, but it's reality. Isn't that what Cube said? That, hey, I'm just reporting
What I
what,
see.
what,
I
what I'm
see.
seeing, right?
You're right. And also with that, because of what we see and what generations before us have seen, and now our future generations, it's reporting it. And so when people give that name rap a bad name, that is completely unfair, because even back in the day, poets, the revolution, all these
Bill
things
Scott
were
Henry.
there. I mean, my
Last
man.
poets.
So
Mhm.
there's so much going on, but at the same time, the bigger community, which is led by white people, white men, made sure to have that spent in a certain way.
We were having a off-air conversation about what might contribute to how some younger Black males are responding to Black females, and sometimes particularly their moms. And a lot of times I said it's what they've been exposed to, right? And how then a child processes things based on what they're exposed to. And every child is different, right? It is not. And I remember this guy from the Clark Foundation said to me many years ago, and yeah, I don't know if you all will agree with this. He said, look, every family is dysfunctional at least 15% of the time.
I say more than that.
He said, right.
Yeah.
So when he was saying that there's always a level of dysfunction in families, regardless of ethnicity. I remember going and telling my mom, I said, Mom, I said, we ain't dysfunctional. I said, yes, we are. Yes, but maybe dysfunctional, and even sounds crazy, is almost normal, like you just said. I
Mhm.
mean, that because if we have all these great moments of family life, we also have some pretty difficult moments of family life.
Agreed.
And so that gets into, so then my question then is, we talked about the dynamic tension, we talked about influencers. Did you see, or have you seen, based on your anecdotal observations, that there is a reaction? You talked about the reaction to Hillary Clinton, but is there a reaction to Vice President Kamala Harris based on gender? And we're talking about particularly Black men.
I think it's a couple of things, and I think this is where Trump campaign has been brilliant in a bad way, but in a sense of trying to say, is she even Black? Where everybody never questioned her Blackness. I mean, she's an AKA from Howard University.
Which you first read. She went to Howard.
So I'm saying, so it's those
Right.
things, but to have us even having the conversation shows the brilliance of the propaganda, how it can be infiltrated.
Right.
But then now what they try to say is this: oh, you never hear her talk about her dad, who's the Jamaican. But then they try to bring her mom up as this person who did it. Now her mom was Indian. So now they're trying to bring a separation.
Mhm.
And the elephant in the room, nobody want to talk about. She got a white husband.
Nobody wants to talk about it.
And so
they're talking about it.
So what I'm saying is what validated Barack was having Michelle. If Barack would have had a white woman, he would not have the same level of love and popularity within the community. Let's just be real. Kamala gets kind of a pass with Doug. and whatnot like that. So what I'm saying is all of these things that you see where people say like nobody want to talk about it, but if you want to break a person down, now you done gave them more ammunition to be able to knock it down in a different manner. And then let's go back. Why some of the women don't like it because they talk about her past with the other mayors of LA and some of her indiscretions when she was younger with some of the men.
Indiscretion, she had relationships.
I'm on WNOV with FCC, so I'm trying to
close to 10 o'clock. She had relations. She had a boyfriend
with a wife, with somebody who had a wife.
Oh, and that didn't happen with Donald Trump.
No. But what I'm saying
He
is
grabbed
that's the double standard. See, that's the propaganda. Men can do things that women can't do and get away with it. If Barack Obama, white men can do stuff that black men. If Barack Obama had 3 baby mamas and 5 children,
I would have voted for him.
No, but I'm just saying the way the media would have put
you brother like me.
About to cut us off.
And he got 34 felonies.
Let's go back to if Barack was married to Heidi. The look on Leo's face was like, oh no, no.
He wouldn't have got 92% of the black
because
vote.
the largest black vote is women.
Yes.
Black
what
women.
percentage of the black vote would he got?
Oh my.
He still would have got a high level because he was a black man. But think about what Michelle did. First thing she said, "You not Barry, you Barack."
How about that?
That's a stronger name. That's like, no, I'm gonna make you pronounce my name. I don't care if it's got Hussein in it or whatnot. We're gonna be proud of who we are. But then you see them 2 little beautiful black girls, and then the black mama live with them. I mean, you can't get no more South Side Chicago than that.
And
she said,
South Side and
real.
South of the the Mississippi, Alabama.
So what I'm saying is it made Barack, who a lot of people question, even you talk about the Jesse Jacksons and the Al Sharptons of the world. They questioned his blackness in the beginning. But a lot of them was riding with Hillary in that debate, that primary.
Jesse knew Barack from Chicago.
Yeah, but Jesse,
and that's why they was riding with him, because they said he was condescending. They said that he was. They were basically calling him an Oreo. You look at those debates. Barack Obama lost elections in Illinois at the automatic state senator level.
He only lost one.
He lost it
to Bobby Rush.
Okay, the Black Panther.
Right, he lost to a Black Panther.
Okay, but what I'm saying is this, and they crushed him because they said he wasn't black enough.
But he was going. I didn't know who Barack Obama was until I watched Rainbow Push, and he was a regular at Rainbow Push. I think as you go up the political,
I'm not saying he wasn't black enough. I'm saying
but I'm saying, but as you moved up, it was because there was the other thing that came up too, and here's colorism, right?
Yes.
Because someone said, well, the other thing was he didn't look like Jesse Jackson. And what they were talking about, Jesse Jackson is brown. He's saying that Barack was lighter. And I don't know if you all do this in your sociological pieces. White people react very differently to complexion. Like if they see someone who's very, very light, they don't feel as threatening. As threatened by, if the darker you are, the more threatening you might be.
He was raised by a white woman with white grandparents. They
forget about that little
thing.
He
half white.
That's in Hawaii.
Yes.
In Hawaii.
So I'm saying it's those things where they say he's like us, like he has our train. Even Barack Obama said the things my grandparents said, I'm embarrassed of.
Yeah, he said they did say some cringe-worthy things.
There's a hand.
Oh, Carby.
All right. We're inside.
Y'all don't hear the music.
We're inside.
That's just our background.
I'm used to it. This is Keith. This is,
Inside Community Voice. We have the Village Doctors with us. We'll be right back. of the Milwaukee County Board, Ms. Marcelia Nicholson.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Nicholson. And here's why I struggled with that, because I have Clarence Nicholas.
Right.
Right. So you are
Right.
Nicholson.
That's right.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited. It's been a wonderful morning, a wonderful week.
Okay.
I just got engaged.
Yay!
Black love. Hashtag Black love.
Indeed,
So I am
indeed.
feeling wonderful.
3 months in.
Excellent.
Yeah,
That's
that's right.
beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Congratulations. Thank you.
But you're
and-
here to talk
yeah.
about the Sherman Park Harvest Fest.
Yes. So Harvest Fest, this is our third annual Harvest Fest. In 2020, I worked with Milwaukee County Parks and the Boys and Girls Club to invest $2.5 million to reimagine the park, give it some upgrades. And then part of reimagining the park, we wanted to bring the community together. We know social cohesion, active parks are safer parks, safer communities. So we're putting on this event and we're inviting everyone to come out. It's this Saturday between 2 and 6 p.m. Right in Sherman Park.
So what can people expect?
So much. It's going to be a great day. We'll have free costumes. We're sponsored by Herb Cole Foundations, Versity, United Way, Palermo's Pizza. So we'll have tons of pizza. We'll have stations, food vendors, people selling things. We'll have a car show. We'll have performances from folks like the Milwaukee Flyers, the Nefertari Dance Company. DJ Gideon will be there. Raffle prizes. We're raffling off some awesome prizes, tablets, gift cards, tickets to places like the Domes, the Zoo, the Burner Gardens, and a picnic for 12, very Instagrammable sort of picnic. And yeah, that's right. It is cookout. There you go, cookout. And I know, just coming from me.
I got you.
It's through Packed Picnics. There was a prize. It's charcuterie.
Okay.
So that's called a bougie picnic.
Okay.
We'll call it a bougie picnic, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm inviting everyone to come out and have some fun with us.
How are we're coming up on the budget?
Yes, we are. Adoption Day is November 7th. So we're taking amendments in finance this Thursday and Friday, budget adoption on the 7th, and working with the executive to, fill budget gaps and make sure we're still able to invest in key areas. But it's looking good for us. Folks are getting along and putting up some good amendments. So.
And then finally, have you seen the lines for early voting?
I have. It's very promising. I'm very optimistic. I've seen, so many folks excited about our new candidate, and let's keep up the momentum. Folks, we need you to vote. If you can't early vote, show up at the polls November 5th. I'll see y'all there.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to share with us?
No, just thanks for having me. It's always
man.
a pleasure spending time with y'all.
As the mayor pulls up.
Always.
Oh, well, let me get out the way then.
No, you good.
Yeah, so good to be with y'all.
Really, and congratulations.
Thank
Yes,
you.
I'm so happy for
Thank you.
Man.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's, I'm blessed and, loving life. A year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good time.
It's a good, we knew right away,
Oh.
I love it.
it's a fantastic feeling.
Dated my wife.
Yeah.
I dated my wife for 9 years.
Oh,
We knew
did you?
almost right away. Almost right away.
Well, it's funny. I said day one. I'm not about to be dating for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Let's figure out what we want, and if it works, let's go for it.
There's
So,
light at the end of the tunnel.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, we appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're
Good to
welcome.
see
Oh,
you.
same here.
That is Chairwoman of the Milwaukee County Board, Marcelia Nicholson. What last
Good
names
day.
today? And so, wow. Okay, we're gonna keep it rolling.
People just, oh my
But you know
My
what?
brow
It's
sweat.
interesting in indigenous culture. What we call the witch
We
doctor,
call it shaman.
right? The shaman. If you're in American indigenous, that is the medicine man.
Mhm.
Those are spiritual people.
The
They're
leaders.
the pastors, literally, right?
Yeah.
Right. They're the griots, the pastors. Come on in, man.
How you doing?
How you doing?
How y'all doing? Sorry, we were on a little little delay here for a sec. So.
Oh no, we're fine.
That's okay.
man.
We got plenty of room
got
for
plenty of
everybody.
room.
Come on in. We are the greetings.
Thank you. Thank you.
Boy,
Morning.
man, look at this the
We
power
have to have a
in this.
picture of
Yeah,
this.
the
right
power
here.
in the room today. We're joined by the Honorable Cavalier Johnson, the mayor of the city of Milwaukee. Welcome.
Good morning. Nice to see everybody
Good to see you
man.
too.
on this second day of early voting in the city of Milwaukee.
Oh man, I on my way home, yesterday after the program, I drove past Capitol Drive,
Yeah.
and the line was literally out to the streets,
Good hope as
And-
well.
and it wasn't even
Yes.
counting the cars that people
Yeah.
coming in dropping off ballots.
Right.
So what do you think? What do you think that's? Because we had a lot of people. August was a record-setting
Yeah.
election. So what do you think?
There are a lot of people that are counting Milwaukee out, that are going to count on the people who live here not recognizing the power that they have as a political juggernaut if they wake up and exercise that power. But what I can tell you is that, you saw that at Capitol. I was there yesterday too, just going by, just thanking people for staying in line and voting. Of course, there was a statewide issue with processing some of those yesterday, and so folks were having to wait for a little longer. I went and shook everybody's hand that was in those lines going out to the sidewalk. Folks are energized here, and it wasn't just at Capitol. It was at Zeidler, where I was yesterday. I haven't made it up to Good Hope yet. I intend to make my way around to a number of different sites, but I'm glad to hear the same thing was happening there. Folks are really, really energized in this election, and I'm so happy right now, and I want to see it continue over the course of the next couple of weeks here.
And it's interesting because we have been talking about whether or not, particularly Black men, were going to sit out this election, but I saw a significant number of Black men in line. So do you think that we're doing too much talking about the small percentage who might be supportive of Donald Trump as opposed to the others who are not supportive?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Look, in Milwaukee, especially in the summertime, right? We have all these festivals and stuff going on, and I go to these places, I go out and I knock on doors. I know typically, mayors don't necessarily do that, but I was on the council before I was mayor. And so it's kind of, in my bones to still go out and knock on doors and talk to people. And so I have. And what I can tell you from my conversations with African-American men, whether they are, doing their job as custodians on the grounds at Summerfest, or it's on the far northwest side at their home, when I talk to them about the stakes of this election, they say that they're voting for Kamala Harris. Right, they're not supporting Mr. Trump, and I think you're right. They like to play up the fact that there are some, and there always have been Black Republicans. There always have been. However, they're trying to make it seem as if the vast majority of Black men are peeling towards Mr. Trump. And I just, from the conversations that I've had with them, straight up conversations, I'm not seeing that. I'm just not seeing that. And you're right. I saw when I was at Zeidler yesterday and at Capitol, the same thing, scores and scores of African-American men. I'm not asking who they're voting for in that capacity, right? That I'm not there in a partisan capacity when I'm mayor. But I can tell you the women that they're with are voting for Kamala Harris. And if
How you go at home?
so exactly that's what my point is.
Or you gonna sleep tonight.
That's exactly what my point is. That's exactly what my point is. So I'm not seeing that.
We were having a conversation and we were talking about, as it relates to the election, the dynamic tension between Black men and Black women, and how certain Black men are reacting to Kamala Harris. And as a person who has really broken through a glass ceiling, right, being the first Black elected mayor, you can appreciate how people kind of sensually respond to you, not necessarily substantively. Do you think that that's part of it for some men?
Yeah, I think that when I go out and I talk to people, the thing that folks are most concerned about is public safety generally here. And you can turn on any news story or read, any news article when somebody has been wronged. And I talk about this all the time, as people commit acts of death, harm, or destruction in our community, that folks should be held accountable. So when you turn on a news story and somebody's family member, say their mom, their dad, their child was hurt or worse yet killed, what they're asking for when they do those balloon releases, they're asking for justice, right? They want to know that the person who harmed their family is going to be held accountable. Reason being is because they don't want that person to go out and hurt somebody else's family member that they care about. And so the way we've built, public safety in my administration has been focused on two pillars: accountability, yes, but also prevention. And Kamala Harris, in her initial elected capacity, had a responsibility to hold people accountable. And that's important. But I think the thing that they're not paying attention to, much like, as we were just talking about in the previous question, people paying attention to the small minority of African-American men who may be supporting Donald Trump. I think that too many people are not also paying attention to her entire record as district attorney in San Francisco, and that she laid out and created national model programs that were preventative, that worked to make sure that folks did not end up going to prison, to make sure that they did not reoffend. Like, folks have to take the entirety of the breadth of experience into account.
When you, what did you see as the mayor of an urban city, in terms of the support that you've gotten from the Biden-Harris administration?
I've told the president this basically every time he lands. I've intimated this to the vice president as well. We've got a number of surrogates from the Biden-Harris administration who have come to Milwaukee over the course of the last number of months. If it were not for the leadership of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, Milwaukee would be in a really difficult spot right now. It really, really would be. Like, I'm not kidding. The American Rescue Plan Act, if those dollars did not flow from Washington back here, and not just to states, because we all see this happen, right? Money, it comes from Washington, it goes to states, it gets mired in the state legislature and all that. It never comes down to the cities. But what we have are two people, both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who served previously at the local level. And so they sent that money directly to local governments. So we got the money directly in Milwaukee and didn't have to go through the Republicans in Madison in order to access it. And because of that, we were in a position where we didn't become the next Detroit, where we didn't have to have a situation where our city was going bankrupt, where we didn't have a situation where we had to lay off half of our police department, where we had to lay off a quarter of our fire department, where we had to shutter every single library in Milwaukee, where we had to let go of hundreds and hundreds of city employees who provide services each and every single day. That's because of Joe Biden, and that's because of Kamala Harris's leadership.
One of the things that was the infrastructure bill, and this was a campaign issue when you ran for mayor in 2020. No, it was for Barrett.
Oh, sure.
In 2020, the lead laterals.
Yeah.
Talk about that and what it looks like now in terms of what the city got from the Biden administration.
Sure, absolutely. So this is an area where particularly, the president certainly gets a ton of credit. It's his administration. But this is an area where the vice president, where Kamala Harris, gets a huge amount of credit. I've been working with the Biden-Harris administration. My administration has been in waterworks with them from the beginning since I became mayor of the city. And there's so many things that they've worked on with communities that have these large amounts of lead service laterals. I mean, when you look at Milwaukee and Chicago and Detroit as an instance, there's over 500,000 lead service laterals that are in the ground in those communities altogether. Working with the Biden-Harris administration, the goal is to remove all those lead service laterals out of the ground and make sure that there's funding in order to do that. So because of our partnerships with President Biden, because of our partnerships with Vice President Kamala Harris, which when I went to Washington and first started getting engaged here, it wasn't, even though President Biden laid out the goal to do this, the one who was actually on the ground, meeting with mayors, working with the EPA in order to get this work done, it was Kamala Harris. She was the one that was in the room. She was the one that's working to make this happen. And because of the partnership with her and that administration, we're on pace this year in Milwaukee to remove more lead service laterals than we have in a single year ever before. We're basically going to double the capacity that we have to do that because of the partnership with this administration.
I had two conversations with the vice president prior to her, assuming the top of the ticket.
Mhm.
And the one time she did, she came in and talked just about that, the infrastructure bill, and what they were doing and the impact that it would have. One other thing, I just heard this. It was on Michelle's program. The city election commission needs workers.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, we do. So if there's anybody out there who's looking for, an opportunity to serve the community and make a couple bucks while you're doing it, like this election is so critically important. We want to make sure that we get it done and we get it done right. There's space for you to be a part of this. There is space for folks to be a part of the work that we're doing to make sure that people all across Milwaukee have an opportunity to let their voices be heard in this election. So if you hear the sound of my voice now, please reach out to our election commission, call them, email them, and find out ways that you can be involved at our polls to make sure folks can exercise their vote.
One other little thing. I know you're busy. How involved is the city, in particular MPD, with the issue right now of safety officers in MPS?
Sure. So one of the things that when all this sort of stuff, this negotiation in Madison, went down that required for police officers to return to Milwaukee Public Schools. One of the things that I said, and the police chief said as well, is that there's any hold up on this is not going to be on behalf of the city of Milwaukee. We're going to do all our due diligence, all of our work to make sure that we have our ducks in a row in order to make sure that we're able to execute this program. And we have done that. There's a holdup at Milwaukee Public Schools. And I sort of liken it to this, right? When you go to a restaurant, the chef makes your meal and delivers it to you, right? That's a service that you've gotten. The chef's not going to serve you a meal and pay the bill. They're kind of asking us to serve the meal, provide the services of police, and pay the bill. And we're not going to pay the bill. It's their responsibility to pay the bill. And if you look previously at the arrangement between the Milwaukee Police Department and Milwaukee Public Schools before the school board terminated the relationship with the Milwaukee Police Department, that's exactly what was happening. The school district was paying that. And we believe that's what should happen right now. And we'll continue working toward that end.
Mayor Cavalier Johnson, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for doing this and presenting an opportunity to let folks know about the importance of the election coming up. It's super, super important. And just lastly, again, I'm so proud to see all the people across Milwaukee, even at places I haven't been to yet, who are showing up to the polls to vote. Keep that energy up. We need it. We need every single vote over the course of the next couple of weeks, and on election day, which is my birthday. So make sure I get a good birthday gift.
Okay.
All right.
All right, man. Well, good seeing you.
All right.
Man.
Good to see you guys. Thank you.
All right. Mayor Cavalier Johnson, appreciate that. Appreciate him.
All right. Thank you guys.
All right.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you.
All right. Yeah, we get back to the program. Well, that was part. Anyway, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give you the
This
mic.
chair open because somebody else coming.
Somebody's coming. I know it. Oh, he is here.
Okay. You're listening to Community Voice. We're joined by the village doctors and the mayor and the chairwoman of the county board
Sounds so kooky.
And the fry chef.
and the fry chef at McDonald's and Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan.
Yeah,
We need a few more people. We'll be right back.
you've been busy, man.
Community work. Check himself. Welcome back. I'm on boy. I didn't do this, Leah. Yeah, shout out JSU. Y'all spanked Florida A&M. And did. Because they had won like 22 straight games or something like that.
And let's not forget about the Sonic Boom, who always encourages the players.
And it's amazing because on ESPN, when they do Black college football, they do the most important thing in Black college football, the Black college band rankings.
We are number one.
And y'all the boom box?
We are. Wait.
Human boom box?
Let's repeat. Sonic
Boom. Sonic Boom of the South,
the
right?
Boom Box. Yeah, Sonic Boom of the South.
Who's the boom box of the South?
I'm sure that's nobody.
Must be Southern.
Everybody catches strays.
Good Lord. I need to go to urgent care.
No, Kwaku. No.
Lord.
Somebody had called in and was talking about the brothers out not wearing shirts and had man breasts.
Oh,
Was this like a topic?
No, somebody called in.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me.
All right, I am going to talk about you and Juice.
Oh my God.
How did you know?
Kwaku wore this brother out on the air. On the air, man. I'm going like, dude, this is Juneteenth, man.
It's all family love. It's the family barbecue.
Oh my, you got
the
to
problem was, he was walking with his buddy, but his buddy looked like he was in the gym every day. So it was the juxtaposition. I was like, don't do that to yourself.
Oh,
No.
man.
Don't do that to yourself, bro.
You probably knew exactly who he was. That's terrible.
But I got.
Oh, jeez.
Because I didn't know, man, because they was rolling like, dude, we might have, and we don't have security at our remotes. Never thought we needed
You
it.
don't have security at the remote.
Oh, you do?
All up in the bag. And we heard it from all the way that we're like, they are having a good time. That's another reason why I walked. I'm like, hey, next thing I know,
Man,
the ribbon
he
begins.
turned it into a party. He looked like Samuel L.
great.
Jackson.
Yes.
And do the right thing.
Yes.
He up on the window.
Juneteenth is so much love, man. It's like it's a different kind of day. I wish it was like that every day, man. It's a beautiful thing. And part, you tell me where you don't go. Even like up in here, we have good nature ribbon and whatnot like that. And it's all done in good spirit.
Because it's the village.
It is.
It's the
Yeah.
village.
It's a safety in it.
Yeah, and I say it. I love all African people all over the world, and you all have traveled. And when it don't take long. When you see descendants of African people, you go, I know you. I know you. And then they looking at us, and I don't think that I'm gonna use this, and I know there's controversy, but I don't think the N word, because and I know how we feel about that word. We feel all kind of different ways. But it's just like the comedian who did the whole thing on inflection and using the word dude. It's the same thing with the N-word, right? You know, what was Bill Bellamy said, look, I know I need to give up this word, but there are some.
So many.
Or with Kamala, if you're going to tell me that Kamala Harris is not black, there was a moment in that debate that every African American, this mother, and everybody was
That
one was like, and I thought at first I was the only one. People called, no, man. And she turned to like this. And everybody been like, oh, yeah, we done heard when we use that preposition, this. There's something that's following that.
Comes after that.
Yeah.
Trump don't want no more of that stuff.
No, he don't want no more of that.
He refused to make.
And we was talking about that because old brother, look, I'm going to say something. I think I don't know, you do call this, right?
Yeah.
What I've discovered is just how intelligent and aware our listeners are. And they put it on a level where we might get all academic and clinical in our definition. They put it at street level. So dude called there and said, how you think she did? She said, oh, she ran a Boston on his ass.
Yes.
Exactly what he said.
We all knew what it was.
Everybody knew what he was talking about. But that cultural piece is important. And I think, and again, we talked about that and how it drives us. But even when we're having that conversation about whether or not Barack Obama, if he was married to a white woman, you know, there would be a different response. And a lot of that's our history. Even though black people have the lowest rate of interracial marriage. Any other ethnic group in the country?
But what I think some people talk about is that's your entrance ticket. You know, you think about Clarence Thomas with the white wife. That's how he's able
Jenny.
to get there.
Hey,
Ketanji
Jenny.
Jackson Brown, white husband.
But wait a minute, hold on. But that dude is fly.
No, and that's me and Carvey was just talking about. He said, "What makes you black? Is it your skin?"
Because old boy be like,
So what we talk about is who's down for the cause.
right.
You know, and we were just talking about like John Brown. Like this was a white man that gave it up for everything. In fact, Frederick Douglass said, "I do a lot of talking." He said, "John Brown does a lot of doing." And when you get Frederick, Douglass, the one who we venerate.
Oh, Fred Douglass.
Fred
Douglass' second wife.
He was half white though. People forget he was a child of rape.
Right. But this is why I love all African people all over the world.
If you got to drop, you black.
Right. Because we can put a spin on things. I always tell this, you all are not old enough to remember. I used to watch Soul Train.
What?
Come on,
He
man.
said what?
No,
I wanted to be a Soul Train dancer. What are you talking
No,
about?
y'all Soul Train of the 80s.
You-
I'm talking about Soul Train of
Doctor,
the
you were too
70s.
light
What
to
are
be
you
a Soul
talking
Train
about?
dancer.
Man, I'm
There
a
was an Asian
70s,
girl on
72.
there. There was a couple.
Okay, so
I
what
could
was
have
you,
been
a
Soul
baby?
Train dancer.
Oh, but what you think we watched all the
Okay,
time?
okay.
Remember, it was
Okay, so
only
let me
one
see.
TV, and it was 4, 6,
All
and
right,
12.
all right.
And at the time,
here
you
comes-
watch everything.
As my mama said, here come the tessuses.
Okay.
All right. So
Come on, Don Cornelius.
what
Let's go with
commercial? What commercial?
Afro Sheen. Come on, man. Don't
And who
call
was
me.
in that commercial?
Oh, that I don't know.
Fred Douglass.
Yeah. I do know what you're saying.
You remember
I thought you were talking about what famous actor. Yeah, the
the
poop
Fred,
hair.
yeah, man, it was like Fred Douglass came, his stuff was all powdered, and I said, now who would take an historical figure to sell hair care products? Black people.
That's how you won the Boston.
Bam.
Black people.
You trillionaires
And
now.
we sit up here going like, yeah, Fred Douglass would have wanted me to lead a house like that.
You ain't got to be like me. Eddie Murphy did a thing. He said, Sidney Poitier is a great actor. You see, he had to act like his hair was done. You ever see Sidney Poitier? It was like his hair was so nappy in the movie. He said, didn't nobody know how to do his hair. But we never noticed. So it's that thing with that. It's the humor that comes with it.
No. Fred Douglass, his fro was tight. His fro was
Oh,
tight.
yeah,
and
he
the
had
older
the
he
Don came
got,
before the Don
right,
came.
you know, and then he had that part. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another complicated
Boy,
brother.
boy, oh boy, oh
Because he's a
boy.
trumper.
Only in America.
Mike Tyson is a trumper.
Yeah.
We love Mike Tyson.
I was talking to the congressman.
I want to see somebody go up to him.
Congressman Abo.
Black man,
and
vote for Trump.
and he said, yeah, Donald Trump has never had black people in any kind of executive position, any kind of role. I said, what about Herschel Walker?
Yeah.
And he didn't get it. I kept saying Herschel Walker did it. Hit him like, oh yeah, when he played for the Generals. All right. So let's get back to this dedication. Boy, we used Fred Douglass to. How would you use Harriet Tubman?
Ooh.
I ain't touching
I
that
know.
one.
No.
We don't like black women when you.
No, we gonna keep this right here.
What would we use Harriet Tubman? What could Harriet Tubman sell?
Carvey said Nikes.
Just do it. She was hitting it.
just
Good
do it.
job.
Just
Good
do
job.
it. Right.
Look at
Well,
Carvey.
Kamala
Say
Harris.
today, Carvey.
Yes, indeed,
And
because
the
he's trying to
Chucks.
get us
Yeah.
on Front Street.
You know, because she did Chucks and Pearls.
Yeah.
You know, so you had a whole Converse, certainly her sorority sisters.
And there were a lot of Chucks and Pearl parties that have taken place.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
As of
Yeah.
late. Yeah,
As
yeah.
of
Because
late.
when the first time
I've
I can
attended.
remember, it was during COVID, and she came to Milwaukee, and when she got off the plane, she had on her Chucks.
Yeah.
And it
Lena
was-
Taylor be having her chucks
Lena
on.
Taylor was rocking those Chucks. I don't know if it had anything to do with Kamala, but she was rocking those Chucks. She wore out 4 or 5 pair.
So walking.
Okay, so let me ask this question: do black men love black women?
D-boy, you love black women? Because I do. So see, that's one of them
Of
like
course. But I mean,
but there's some things that like I have some problems with things that black women
Yeah.
do, which I'm sure if you
gotta
ask Leah, she
you
got
gotta
problems
set
with
that up
black
better.
men. Yeah.
No, I'd set it up that way, and then
I
you
think the
fill in
better question
hole.
is like, because love is unconditional. Like I tell my
Absolutely.
children, I say, I'm always love you, but sometimes I don't like you.
Mhm.
You know, and it's a thing, like, because if I don't like your behavior and what's going on, I'm gonna be honest with you. But I'm gonna always love you. I'm gonna always give you the stuff that I'm required to give you by law and still a little bit more. But if you're doing something that's like that's
roll
not
it
right,
back, roll that back. I will give you what's
everything
required
that
by law.
maybe a little more.
You sound
But-
like my mama.
Yeah, but if I
Mama,
like
do you love me?
Yeah.
You got a roof over your head?
Sound like
I'm like,
fences.
right. Oh, when I heard that
got a
line, I
roof over
was
your
kind of going like, yeah, I heard that one. Because my mother's only she's never told me that she loved me.
Oh, stop it,
Verbally.
Keith.
No, my mother's never verbally told me that
You
she
need to
loved
write
me.
a book.
I never doubted my mother loved me, but my
'Cause you
mother
know,
never
she shows
expressed
it.
that. She didn't express it that way. And especially with her boys, because she thought,
you got to be hard, you got to
right,
be
you
tough.
got to be hard. You know, like I want my boys to be
not
hard.
soft.
I wanted to play violin. And my mother was so concerned that if I start playing violin,
You're gonna be soft.
I'm gonna be
You're gonna be gay.
I'm gonna be gay. Because to be gay is not to be soft.
Uh-huh.
I was gonna be gay. And I was kind of I didn't understand that, it's a little bit more complicated than picking up a violin. But yeah, I mean, and that gets back to something you talked about.
What about
toxic
Liberace and the
masculinity.
piano?
Mhm.
Huh?
What about Liberace and the piano? How many
But no, you think about it though. You go back to the black church.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the people that was in the choir.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, I'm talking about when his mom said, "I don't want you to play the violin,"
Or the piano.
because it was certain connotations and stereotypes attached to that. I'm not saying everybody, but I know at the church I went to,
I know church I
the
went to.
drummer was the bass, the choir director, the organ player. And that's each to their own. So I'm not downgrading the
What
lifestyle.
did that mean?
That's what they used to say. When you were older, they say, like, you got a little sick.
Whatever.
Lord have mercy.
And so this was the thing. I mean, if we just speaking honestly, back in the 70s, you didn't come out as gay. That was in the closet. You tried to man it up and you went out. Whatever you did kind of on your own, it was there. Now you have people who can be more flamboyant. It's a little bit more accepted.
But I think it's still more difficult, especially for black men, even today. I think because, and
I don't think so now.
a friend of mine,
It's too out there.
he just got married. This dude threw a wedding for him and his guy. Oh man, they threw a wedding, and my wife.
Did you go?
No, they had man. What they were at no, I didn't go. I would have gone if he invited me because man, they set it out, and my wife goes. Oh, so he couldn't find a black woman to do all that for?
Wow.
But see, you talk about voting, and this is the thing. So this is the contradiction with a lot of blacks when it comes to voting, because a lot of blacks who say they're Democrats have a lot of Republican views. When you still talk about like the high level of homophobia within the black community, I watched the Democratic convention, and when you had somebody who was completely, they was like, you ain't got to do all that, you ain't got to have all that on the screen. Like okay, it's still those things. So when you talk about the quiet people who go in to vote, say they vote for one way, they don't. When you look at a lot of our black preachers in the church, especially who got those choice dollars, they was born Republican. Because people become single issue voters. This helps us in our congregation. This is how our school gets funded. This is how this money comes up in here. So when you start talking about the complexities of that, sometimes it's not like, oh, I want a Trump, but I do want the benefits of what comes with this party that comes with it. And that's not men or women or whatnot. That's capitalism.
But I don't know what drives it for women in terms of homophobia. I can't tell you as a man what drives it. And how I am constantly trying to work through that. First of all, it was my programming.
Yeah.
Right. It is images. I hear people, which is, and you all do this for a living. There are people talking about, well, when you look at the kids today, they're feminine because they're raised by women. They ain't got nothing to do with nothing. I mean, it is, and you're trying
part of it.
But that's not why they're gay. Because it was raised by a woman.
No, as far as some of the effeminate features.
But maybe we need to get away from then what is a masculine feature. I remember, you talked about gender roles.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember one of my classmates, she's one of the first women to go up on an AT&T pole. There was people tripping. Why is that woman on the pole? On that pole.
You know what? Debo, I'm coming over there with you. Go to commercial quickly.
Why is that woman?
I'm just here in the audience.
We gotta get your soul.
I'm here in the audience at this point. I'm gonna go on and get my soul to the pole today, because I promise we all about to go.
preface it by saying utility
About to
pole
go
because
down.
we do know we do have to differentiate on the
But
pole.
that's
woman
the
doing
sad
on the
part.
pole.
We laugh, but you have more people who more comfortable with her on that pole than on the
Than
other
on the
pole.
pole.
So just
Mhm.
think about this. So if you got people who have women problems with her being on that pole, how many men have problems with Kamala?
But why do we,
Because it's not
but
Kamala,
why
but
do-
because it's a
but
woman.
why do we give the other pole such a negative imagery when it's a form of art?
Because it is.
No, I think because when you start to talk
Because some of
about
those
human
women-
trafficking,
Right.
that's where you start to see.
But
Because you
that's a
say,
lot.
no. This is the thing. And
Everybody
what
that's
you-
on the pole is not.
But this is the thing. So who grows up wanting to be on the pole? Usually it's a choice because it's a lesser of two evils.
They usually want to do gymnastics and they don't make the cut. No, I'm just kidding.
I want to see you say this with a straight face.
I was at Urban Day School, group of eighth graders, group of eighth graders, and so I'm trying to figure out how do you talk to these eighth graders? I get some that we can get on the same page, right? And so, and I think the term back there was video vixens.
Karen Steffens.
Everywhere I go, every other video. All right.
Uh-huh.
So, so I asked, how many of you young ladies want to be video vixens? 25% of the young women, eighth graders, raised their hand.
But that's the propaganda again, though, because now you're starting to see it and you see the lifestyle with it. So look, if you talk about like a sociologist like William Julius Wilson, he wrote When Work Begins to Disappear, and he was talking about the golden age of Black people. And with the golden age, not like it was so great, but he was like, because of redlining, we were all forced to be in the same area. So you saw the dentist, you saw the physician, you saw all of these people. We had the Lester Carters, we had the Dr. Finlays,
Right
they were all right here. But then when you start to let some jobs go down, and then you start to let some redlining go so some of the elite can leave, who's inside of your community? So let's go back to the Mac.
Mm-hmm.
What Goldie say to them little boys? I want to be just like you. Said, oh no, I ain't gonna give you no more bread. Don't you ever say that. You be a lawyer, you be a doctor. He said, I ain't gonna never give you no bread unless you do that. But due to juxtaposition between Goldie and his brother, his brother was like, man, I can't have you out in the community doing this. He said, no, we're gonna take down the drug, but don't mess with my women. Don't.
Yes.
Let me keep my pimp game. And so when you see those contradictions within the person, who do the little kids see? They see the Goldies. They see Goldie driving the car. His brother, who's a civil like hero, but he ain't got no money. So who they want to be? So those little girls, they looking to see who got the Chanel bag, who got the Gucci bag,
Who's
who got the
beautiful
Dolce
in
Gabbana.
their eyes, who has the hair, who has all the things.
And that is the that is what makes the ghetto, and I'm using this term, the ghetto, this social segregation. So look, my mama said and others said that when we talked about integration, it wasn't that Black people wanted to live with white people. We wanted better living conditions. And I know we can go in and we can romanticize, man, back in the day in the hood.
Yeah.
But if you ever hungry in the hood, there was nothing that you were
True.
glorifying.
No.
If you didn't know, and my mother, who was she's militant, and I would say, but Mom, we made progress. My mother said, well, yeah, some of us have made progress, but not all of us. And so my issue isn't when I was a kid. Sometimes this wasn't often, people wasn't often, didn't know where the next meal was coming from. I remember my mother saying to me, and this is something we didn't know as kids, I didn't know if I was going to have gas money to get to work.
Yeah.
And so I'm not romanticizing folks about how good it was. It wasn't that good. You had to leave Mississippi and Tennessee. My grandfather left Tennessee and never went back to Tennessee. If those good old days were so good, how come he moved back to Tennessee? Because they weren't, but we got through it.
Yeah.
And so here's a descriptive I give of descendant of enslaved African people. We're in spite of people, but I'm tired of being in spite of. In spite of having to go to a school.
Don't want to have to be resilient.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And
I'm with you.
And I hear that, and now they're applying that to the fatherhood work resilience, but damn, after a while.
So I don't want to have to be. I want to start off on equal.
Right.
But that's the whole question. So like you wrap this around. You talk about the Bible. So you read the Bible. You read minor prophets like Nahum and Habakkuk and Zephaniah, and they talk about how the Syrians came in and Babylon came in and destroyed the nations, but how God allowed Babylon to come. And I was thinking, is America about to be destroyed because we are Babylon and we were the wicked country that took over, and now it's about to go? Or was it the righteous country that needs to be taken over so they can see how far they strayed? But when you look at how it started, I said, how can it be the righteous nation?
But when you look at, here's the contradiction of that enslavement. That's where the Hebrew people learned how to read and write. That's when they codified their scriptures. Those 70 years of captivities, because Babylonians, they were called meticulous record keepers, right? And they learned it because here you have nomadic people. They had a spoken language, but they didn't necessarily have a written language, and it wasn't expansive. So, and this is going to sound crazy. There are some benefits of us being descendants of enslaved Africans here. Not all the benefits that should be. Look, reality is, you guys travel, we're the envy of other Black people throughout the world in terms of what they think we have available to us.
So that's a great point. The first time I went to Ghana, all I was thinking was like, man, I'm more American than I want to admit.
Right.
You know, you see the things, but then also they would say that. And I said, but look around, everybody look like you. Right. And you know your history, you know your language. Also, what I saw was how much stuff was taken away from me. And so now this is the American thing. What do we consider good? Mm-hmm. And it's usually the capitalism, the materialism. A lot of that other stuff really don't matter. If you got love and you got everything around you, you're going to find a way. Like you talk about the shamans and the medicine man, they had ways of healing. They had ways of doing. So do I need a working refrigerator if I can just eat food every day? You know, it's certain things that we become accepted to. And that's why I think we'll never go as far as we're supposed to, because we get comfortable with all of these creature goods and habits. And I'm a hypocrite with it, because as much as I talk about, no, because there's certain things I know I could do even more, but I'm comfortable with certain things. I fight and whatnot like that, but it's a level where you say, man, I'm caught up in this system more than I want to admit. And it's certain things I don't want to give up. And when we look at people who are supposedly, what they say with politicians, they go in to do good, but they stay to do well. Because once you get a little taste of that power, you get a little taste of all of the other things, you start to lose track. Barack Obama talked about in his book, The Audacity of Hope. He talked about the difference of being on the grassroots in Chicago doing everything versus when he's in these fine wine dinners at Congress and the Senate and whatnot like that. Your values change, your circle change, different things change.
We did a food stamp conference. Not a conference, but it was a discussion of food stamps, and we had it at Wing Spread. Have you ever been to Wing Spread?
Which one, on Good Hope?
No, Wing Spread down in Racine.
Oh,
Johnson Wing. You never been to Wing Spread?
I'm thinking Wing Stop, but
yeah,
no.
Great place to talk about food stamps. And here we are in this lap of luxury talking about this assistance program. I mean, it was the contradiction. And when you're in the room, and a lot of times, you hit it, and this is going to hit some politicians where they're not very comfortable, right? You like being in the room.
Oh, yeah.
You love all the things that go along with being in the room.
Parris say, hey, won't you stand up if you're an elected politician? It's something that goes with that, being recognized.
Oh, man, you come in.
The opulence of the Beard Center.
And everybody knows your name, and you getting moved to the front of the, I mean, when I left Metropolitan, Baptist Church, they said, well, what do you miss the most? I said, I had reserved parking. Perks. And those perks then become, as you said, and I like that, that you're going to do good, but you want to live well. Mm-hmm. And then we're not even going to talk about just how intoxicating power is.
Oh, yeah.
And this is why there's so many people looking the other way and holding their noses when it comes to Donald Trump, because that's their pathway to power. And so, and look, all these interviews that I'm doing with all these different elected officials, they're auditioning for possible positions,
for bigger roles.
Yeah,
somebody want to be the governor. Somebody want to go,
and that's the ambition. All right. So we love Black women. The thing,
absolutely,
and I'll say this to Doctor. We're about Blacks.
Love the Blacks.
We're the Blacks. I love the Blacks. The blacks.
Oh my God.
Where's my black?
The reason why I say that there's always, and it what really kind of precipitated all of this was something happened. And I think there was a discussion about black male participation, black male support of Donald Trump. It could have been something, or something came out. And my wife said, black men. Not a black man, not some black man. She said a black man, black man. And that's got me to thinking that, yeah, it's how quickly even women or men will go and put everybody pejoratively into. So when
One
we
group.
say black men,
Mhm.
now the reason, let's get back to the reason why you see these black men who are supporting Trump. They get on TV. Not gonna put Kwaku on TV. Kwaku supporting Kamala Harris. There's nothing unusual about him, but the one who will go his own way. You know, what was it in a scary movie? They said they find the most ignorant, and then her brothers give the most ignorant. Because
Yes.
and then you be sitting there.
This ain't us. This don't represent us.
Oh,
Exactly.
man,
And that's
you know.
it, 'cause it gets back to the influencers.
Yeah.
Because even if you see, when you see the rallies for Trump, you will see 1 to 3 people in his background that are black, and generally it'll be either even or more black men, but there'll be the 2 black women that kind of tend to show up or whatever. I'm not sure what happened to them, and you'll see a couple black men, but it is something where, once again, influencers, they're there for the majority. Like, yeah, he has black votes. Also, with our community, once again, it's always generalized. I do not believe that black men do not want to vote for Kamala. I think that there's a certain amount that perhaps don't, but to say that all black men, and that's the one thing that I wanted to make clear here, is this is not all black men that do not want to vote for her or do not believe in what she is saying. She's done several things to make sure, not even just media throughout this campaign, but even before, having forums, asking those questions of black men, making sure that the preventive measures, as Mayor talked about, are in state even before she got on this platform. Talking about black men in a responsible, loving way. I've not ever heard her disparage.
Do you think, and when you say that, because I said you want to be, how much of it is this black men wanting to be seen and heard from Kamala Harris? But then I also thought that there's a segment of white men who want to be seen and heard, and this is why they're supporting Trump.
We want our country back.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also the progress that women are making. You know, depending on where you are and who you are, it used to be it was black men who, if they were in an intact family, they were primary breadwinners. You had some women who never had to work. They didn't work until the kids were grown.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we lost, as you said, the manufacturing jobs that created that middle class, right? And then there was never a move, okay, these factories might go someplace, so I need to make sure my kids get to this, get to that. That happened because I had classmates who, when they graduated from high school, went to work at A.O. Smith.
Yes.
You know, so, but this wanted to be seen and heard. And so you have instances where a black woman could be better educated. She could be better economically situated. That's a dynamic switch. And really, we're kind of a little bit more accustomed to it than white men. You know, where now that there are a lot of issues because the new economy is geared to women in terms of our service economy. What I mean by that is roles that women had working in offices and things like that. That was something that men didn't do. We were primarily doing
The
factory work, you know, real hard work, physical labor. And now this requires different skills. And these skills women were developing. Plus, we have more women in college now than men. And I think that there's men who are threatened by it. So when you
So
see
you're
Kamala
not
Harris-
saying it. Women are smarter than men, and part of it comes with our socialization.
that goes
so
without
what
saying.
I'm saying is the white man understands if that woman is given a legitimate chance, like the 12 years of Reconstruction. Oh, this going too fast. Hold on, stop. They reading at this enormous rate when we teach them. They doing this. They collecting all. We got to find a way to pull this back down. So when they see them in the boardroom, see them in the roles that were traditionally men, and not only doing it like they did it, but doing it better, where even in the bottom line from a
It's a
capitalistic standpoint, it's absolutely a threat. It's a threat to their existence and to their posterity. So they not just looking at them, but what is my son gonna have? What if my grandson gonna have? Because they're gonna take over. And that's where Trump is a genius, because he said, these white men are afraid. Let me tap into their fear, and they'll do whatever I say because I'm going to put them back. Who was it? Lyndon B. Johnson, who said, if you make the poorest a white man think he's better than the top black man, you don't have to pick his pocket. He'll give you $1.
Oh, I can give it to you, and I can use it now because I'm using it as a sociological kind of experience. Poor whites.
Yeah.
My daddy's a hillbilly. My daddy is from Appalachia. You think you see poor whites? Go to Appalachia.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And so you go to Appalachia, you see poor whites. You go to Mississippi, you see poor whites.
Yeah.
What did they hang their head on? They would say, at least you're not a nigger.
Yeah.
You're still hungry.
Okay.
You're
Mhm.
still being
And
abused.
that's how you get them to vote against their own interests.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, think about it. The men who went and fought
Yeah.
for the Confederacy, most of them didn't own slaves. Right. And then here's the other myth about the North. The Irish in New York and Boston rioted to avoid the draft because they could not see themselves going to fight for enslaved people. That little piece. So they had draft riots, right? So this idea, but think about it. I'm out here, and then who loses? Those poor, what we consider working class white guys come back maimed, can't own property, to lose their right to vote.
Yeah.
Not the elite.
No.
They were still able to hold on to their properties.
Mhm.
But these folks were poor from the beginning. So, and race is a construct too, by the way, folks.
Yeah.
And I tried not to, and I know we used the term black. It was interesting.
Yeah,
They were talking,
social construct.
yeah,
Yes.
Boston was very interesting because when we see African people in Boston, a lot of them think, those folks are from the islands,
Yeah.
right? And so they said that in Boston, the reason why they had such a difficult time electing a black mayor was the African people could
Did
not
not
come
see
to an agreement because it's
themselves
based on island rivalries.
Mhm.
The Bahamians didn't like the Jamaicans, and the Haitians didn't like the Dominicans.
Yeah, I was just about to say Hispaniola divided because of who you were colonized by. And that's the
Absolutely.
indoctrination again. Not seeing us as one, not seeing we're all from different places, but the colonization put something different in our minds.
We got a couple minutes left. So should we all be one? And if we are, what? Not that that'll ever happen. There's nobody's ever going to get. Saturday Night Live did a great skit. Al Sharpton was
Yeah.
on, and they were talking about, is there any reason that you wouldn't vote for Barack Obama? And they were talking about he had a precipitous drop in his black support. It went from 98% to 96%. And it was concerning. And so the whole thing they put out there was anything they think about it. Nope. But there is one that they didn't mention, which I thought was interesting, if he was married to a white woman.
Oh.
Look at him. She had the same reaction.
And the music goes on.
Just reminding people, 3 out of every 4 black men support Kamala Harris.
Yes.
That's in the polls.
And
So-
9 out of 10 black men are with a black woman.
That needs to be stated loudly.
First of all, Quaker, thank you, man. I know you move some stuff around
Yeah.
to make this
Yeah. Oh, no.
happen. Dr. Knox,
It's
I
for
know
the
you
family.
move some stuff around to make this happen. I appreciate this. Can we do this again? Would you all like that?
Oh, absolutely. As long as
Yeah, I come in at 10
Debo
o'clock and
be
you ain't got
happy.
15,000 other people.
'Cause I'm sitting back in audience, like, all right, now let's get it. Let's
Thought you was
go.
on the porch.
I do.
Wow, like, oh,
What you doing back? I love you.
People getting off the bus. Where you going? I can get over there. Don't be bad. I'm going to be on the air.
I loved it.
I love that. Appreciate it, man. Give my best to all. Appreciate it, man.
Will do.
Enjoy your trip.
Thank you, sir.
Stay married.
Absolutely.
What was that old couple from in Living Color? Still together all these years. Debo, thank you. Let me thank Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan. Let me thank County Board Chairwoman Macelia Nicholson. Let me thank the Honorable Mayor Cavalier Johnson. Debo, thank you. Carvey, thank you. Good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.